Eggman.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I'd like to say, as a progressive, proud member of this body for the last 12 years, I'm done. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done. I don't want to send more black and brown men to prison. I don't want more people in prison, but I don't want people buying girls. I don't want people buying little girls anymore. And I'm tired of saying it's okay and that we have to protect the men who do it. As a mental health professional and as a social worker, I can tell you I've spent my entire career working with people who have been wounded. I'm not going to say beyond repair, but they have been wounded to their core by the abuse that's been heaped on them, oftentimes by those that they love and look to protect them. And if their parents won't do it, then by God, we should. Again, I am not arguing that we open the gates to flood our prisons with people, but
I'll argue that you should open the gate and flood your prisons with as many people that are willing to and that do commit the crimes that she is talking about. I don't care how full the prison is. You stack them on top of the prison, you build a prison next to that prison, and if there isn't enough room, we have other options.
I am arguing that we have a moral responsibility to say enough. Enough. We have given away enough on this area, and we've got to move back into the center, or we all look like fools and laughing stocks. And what do we stand for? I
mean, she's just acknowledging that the far left supports the things that she is now. I mean, this just seems like an admission of what the far left is willing to accept and what they support. The fact that she just said they need to move back towards the center suggests that people in the center and towards the right tend to defend people more than the people on the left. Tend to defend victims more than the people on the left who claim to be the biggest anti-bully innocent defenders, right? But look at the reality. She's telling you right now.
All of you to watch the documentary that Senator Grove was in, Senator from Kern County was just in, that talked about this very place in Sacramento where girls are being bought and sold. Men are being given a little slap in the hand or a couple days, and then they're back out again, and they do the same thing. They get caught over and over and over again, and somehow that's okay. It's not okay. It is not okay anymore, and no more am I watching. Like I said, I'm leaving, but the rest of you who are going to be here for a while, let's get our stuff together and really start focusing on some of the important things. We talk about learning, and we talk about being safe. This is like at the core of it. And a lot of these kids can be throwaway kids. They're poor kids. They're kids of color. But they shouldn't have to live a life determined by what happens to them by others at a very young age and by have the Democratic Party of California say it's okay. It's not okay. And I'm not doing it anymore, and I hope none of you do too. We have to be able to draw a line, and for me, I'm drawing a line. I urge your aye vote.
And that is Democrat Senator Susan Eggman. Let's look into this bill a little bit more and try to find out what exactly is going on there. Democrat California Senator Susan Eggman erupts. I am done with us. At rebels in her own party claiming they are protecting pedos because they don't want more black and brown men going to prison. Which is either a very bold insinuation that it's only black and brown men that do this type of crime, or they just only want to throw the white men that do this crime in prison and not the black and brown men. I don't know. It's very confusing to me. I know the Democrats are extremely racist and they like to virtue signal, but then they think that black people don't know how to use the internet. They think that they can't get IDs on their own. Simple things that are actually very easy. Not to mention, race and sexuality is pretty much the only thing that a Democrat ever even focuses on. And in my opinion, if you're not racist, you're not thinking about those type of things, right? For me, I want a strong America. We can throw all these criminals in jail. I don't care how many prisons you have to build. If it becomes too costly, we have other ways of reducing those numbers and not having to pack them in there, right? But I tell you what, if you make prison, you make the consequences for these type of crimes way heavier than they are now, you'll see this crime be committed a lot less because, frankly, these type of criminals are cowards. But let's read more. A Democratic lawmaker has delivered an impassioned plea to push through a bill to send people who do bad things to children to prison. You think in 2024 there'd be enough bills and laws in place to take care of this, but this is California. Antiquated state laws mean people who solicit underage can only be charged with misdemeanors and only get 2 days in jail. The bill, SB 1414, would make it a felony punishable by 2 to 4 years in prison, a $25,000 penalty, and registration as an offender, which is still not enough in my opinion. I mean, it should be at least 18 years to allow their victims to become an adult, be able to purchase a weapon legally, and be able to defend themselves by the time their attacker is let go back into society where they could potentially do it again. However, there's a group of rogue Democrats led by State Senator Scott Wiener who watered down the bill in the Senate Public Safety Committee. What a dick. And you just got to wonder why these people are so defensive of people who commit this crime. I get it, these people are lawmakers, and it is also their duty to pass these laws in a proper manner where the punishment matches the crime. And furthermore, the people that are committing these crimes aren't the only perpetrators. I mean, who is selling them? But Eggman lashed out at the rebel lawmakers in her own party in a fiery speech on May 23rd after they went against the bipartisan majority and Governor Newsom, who want the bill kept as tough as intended. I'd like to say, as a proud member of this body for the last 12 years, I'm done, she said. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done. And like I mentioned, it's too bad that she literally is done, because at the end of this year, her term is up, and it appears that she is not going to be running again, or she's reached a term limit. But Wiener's rebels were concerned that the law would send too many more people to prison after warnings from legal groups about unintended consequences. I don't know what kind of unintended consequences there are. The lines are very, very clearly drawn. But Eggman disagreed. After many other attempts to update California's laws were stymied over the past decade, why are you Californians still electing these people? She goes on to say, I don't want to send more black and brown men to prison. I don't want more people in prison, she said. Again, curious why they have to label black and brown rather than just say, I don't want more people in prison. But of course, the Democrats see color first, and then they make their decision based on what color a person is and how that they're going to treat them, which to me is the definition of racism, or one definition of racism, but I digress. She continued, I don't want people buying little girls anymore, and I'm tired of saying it, okay? And that we have to protect the men who do it. Who's saying that? A bunch of California Democrat leaders. If you're an individual living in California, I gotta ask you something. Why are you not doing everything possible to get out of that state? The rest of the world sees you guys as LGBTQ, which isn't bad, okay? I mean, it's ungodly, it's anti the Bible, and as a Christian, I can't condone it. But you guys out in California, you guys have a bunch of leaders that love criminal migrants, people who illegally broke into this country. Your leaders love giving your tax dollars to those people. They want to force businesses to pay a wage that the business can't support with all your minimum wage laws. You're literally driving businesses out of your state. They don't want to be there anymore. Elon Musk moved Tesla out of there. And that's just one. San Francisco is known for having shit all over the streets. They literally have a government-funded entity that goes around poop patrol that picks up the human feces off the sidewalks and streets because the homelessness, drug use, needles, and mental illness. So State Senator Shannon Grove, who authored SB 1414, appeared in the documentary Escaping the Blade and used it as a key component of her push to get it through the chamber. Men are being given a little slap on the hand or a couple days, and they're back out again, and they do the same thing again, Eggman said. So Eggman will leave the state Senate in the next election due to term limits, and urged her colleagues to continue to work after she was done. And soon after Eggman and many others spoke in support of the SB 1414, the bill actually sailed through the state Senate 36-0. The bill will now go to the state assembly, where Grove and many others on both parties hope it will be beefed back up to its original form. Grove designed the bill to make soliciting underage a felony across the board, to follow up a previous bill that targeted pimps and traffickers. In addition to increasing punishments, the bill also removed the need for suspects to have reasonably known that that sex worker was underage. I mean, what has California been doing? Why has this not been a felony for ages, decades? You guys confuse me in California. Never been there, never gonna go there. After the Public Safety Committee controlled by Wiener's rebels was finished with it, it was so watered down, Grove wanted to take her name off of it. Okay, so that's why it soared through 36-0, because they watered it down. She says, "That's garbage. I don't know what to say. I may pull my name off the bill. It's not my bill. They hijacked my bill, and they turned it into something that was palatable to them," she said. What a shame. Instead of a felony, the crime would be a wobbler, meaning the court can decide whether to charge the accused with a felony or misdemeanor. California trying to protect the offenders. That's the only way that I can see this. The need to know or reasonably know the sex worker was underage was reinstated. First-time offenders would not always have to register on the offenders list. The most controversial change was to make the bill essentially not apply when the victim was 16 or 17, leaving the crime a misdemeanor in those cases. You guys are such a joke. The changes were in response to criticism from the ACLU and the California Public Defenders Association, among others, about unintended consequences. Go figure. The CPDA said the bill punishes some defendants more harshly even when they did not have the intent to be with a minor. This change will unfortunately lump some defendants into the category of offender, with lifelong consequences for them and their families, even though the intent is completely lacking, it said. But the bill will be debated by the state assembly in coming months, and some or all of Grove's provisions could be reinstated. Yeah, right. The crime of purchasing a child of any age in the state of California should be a prison felony, she said after the weaker version passed. We must restore this bill in the assembly to protect every child in the state of California from the horrific crime. And personally, I don't think that the bill that she introduced is even strong enough. If your guy gets caught doing this, you got two of them, chop one off. If the punishment was more strict, people would be less willing to involve themselves and take that risk. At least these offenders are. It won't bother the rest of us. Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video and turn on the notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next one.